from the United Stand studio to talk about something I've wanted to talk about it all day. These Jose Mourinho rumours have come into Manchester United. There's a slight downer on that, which is I've just been told about, which I'll come to in a little bit. But let's first of all bring you all up to date. Jose Mourinho to Manchester United. A lot of us hope it's going to happen. Some of us, in reality, are hoping against hope, and I personally am not too sure it is going to happen. But late last night, if you're on Twitter, social media, from Sky Sports Italia, Mourinho is going to be confirmed as Manchester United manager any time in the next few hours. Now, literally, just to translate that a little bit, what it means is in the next few hours doesn't mean like it does over here that it's going to happen today. It could be any time in the next few days. But Mourinho happening for Manchester United, and he says that as I just try and get the live comment section up working for you as well. Mourinho to Manchester United is huge. It's absolutely huge to Manchester United, as we all know. Last chance saloon, manager who always wins the title in his first couple of years. We're so far off to the title where we are with Louis van Gaal, it would be a miracle if it actually happens. So Mourinho to come in, the players that he would bring to Manchester United as well, massively, massively exciting. And this was breaking all last night. But I think a lot of us were more concerned by the fact that, you know, we've been here before. I think it was a couple of months ago with when he was at Inter Milan, and the wife of the ex-president there was saying, yeah, it's going to happen. He's coming to Manchester. Mourinho is what Manchester United need to do, but it's very interesting on the day that Woodward's just done his speech to the investors that we've got all the information on, which I'll come to in a moment. And it's also very interesting, we've got an FA Cup final next Saturday. We've also got a game against Bournemouth on Sunday, more importantly, where if Manchester City don't win at Swansea, then Van Gaal's got top four. Do not underestimate the power of top four. I mean, they blew it on Tuesday at West Ham. There's still a slim chance they'll get it. When you listen to what Woodward said to the investors a couple of hours ago, he's backing Van Gaal. Financially, Manchester United are about to break loads of records again, which again I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes about. But if we get top four, Van Gaal's going nowhere. Woodward doesn't want Van Gaal to go anywhere. The board at Manchester United don't want Van Gaal to go anywhere because they're terrified of getting Mourinho. Even though it's the obvious choice, they don't want him. They want to do it their way. They want to keep Van Gaal. And I still very much think they will do. And also, I just think, I mean, where is this all coming from? Where is it coming from that Mourinho's going to come? I hope to God it's going to happen, but why would they announce it now when there's so much uncertainty, especially around that top four? But Mourinho at Manchester United, massively brilliant if it happens. This is the man who's got, we know George Mendes is his agent, which basically gives him first dibs on most managers, although I still stand by that. Renato Sanchez, Mourinho wanted Renato Sanchez just a few months ago when he was at Chelsea. He has the same agent as him. If he was coming to Manchester United, then surely the Sanchez to Bayern Munich deal would not have happened. It would have been held off at least until we knew that Mourinho was coming, and to see if we can get him at Manchester United. Yet Manchester United, if you believe the rumours, allowed Van Gaal to pull that deal a couple of months ago. So there's still a lot of things that favour Van Gaal. But Mourinho, probably James Rodriguez, another player I think misused by Madrid, could be really good at Manchester United. Ibrahimovic, I just love his arrogance. You know, he's followed by millions on Twitter and he follows nobody, and that is just symbolic of this man. I think he tweeted it the other day. I went to the park, the Prince of King, and I'll leave a legend. He's just got so much belief, and I love that. Not arrogant, just better, and I love that. And he'd love to play with Mourinho. So all these positive things could happen if we get Mourinho. Varane, brilliant centre-back at Real Madrid. Stones, I think he'd do really well with him. So many options, so many good players that would come to Manchester United that will not come under Louis van Gaal. Fact, it just won't happen. So Mourinho, yeah, massively would love that to happen. But do you think it's going to happen? Because I'm not confident, and I just don't know where these stories come from. That it's like Marzio, the Italian journalist who's been saying it, and then recently he said, well, then it was going to happen. And Guillem Balaguer, the other journalist who thinks he knows everything that's going on, saying 3 weeks ago that Mourinho isn't going to come. I could say to you right now, Mourinho's definitely not coming. And then in 2 weeks ago, please, he does sign, and you'll go, Mark, you said 2 weeks ago he wasn't going to go. Well, I'll just say, 2 weeks ago he wasn't going to come. The deal was only done a couple of days ago. It's very easy to go either way and say, oh, it's definitely going to happen, then something changed, or it's not going to happen, then something did change. I just fear at the moment that it isn't happening, even though, despite all these rumours. Who's to say it's not been fed by Mendes and Mourinho again? One last little effort to get it in the press to try and make it happen. You just don't know what power games are going on. But this is going to be a Q&A as well, so I will be taking some of your questions, but I do want to just cover the Woodward thing to sort of balance up where I'm coming with Jose Mourinho. Did the article. I think Mourinho isn't coming to Manchester United because financially, that is what Manchester United are about. It's all about the money. 100% about the money, and if you listen to the message that Woodward gave to the investors today, Manchester United have got money just pouring into their pockets. Even though we've had an absolutely abysmal season, the money is pouring in, and that's all that matters. In fact, one of the I think it was JP Morgan who are invested in Manchester United. One of their questions was, "Congratulations on a fantastic season." Congratulations! I mean, what's that all about? But it actually is. For them and money, they've broken all sorts of records again, and that's the bottom line. That is what they are interested in. If we get 4th place and stay in the Champions League as well, it doesn't matter if a few thousand fans are bored and a few are not happy. It doesn't matter. Do you know what? It doesn't matter because the money is still coming in. They've released the new third squad today, the new away kit in the last few days. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Manchester United fans fawning over it. Twitter accounts, social media accounts, Snapchat, Facebook. Or, oh, look at the new Manchester United kit. Can't wait to get it. I'm getting Martial on the back, this, that and the other. I mean, on one hand, I'm saying, you know what, go and do what you want to do as a Manchester United fan. But on the other hand, and I include people on the United stand here because Alex has already bought it. And I said, you know what, it is a nice Manchester United top. The new home kit reminds me of 2008. It's really nice. And the away third kit, if you've seen the leaked pictures of that, it looks fantastic. But you've got no right to sit and say, oh, I've had enough of Manchester United, I hate Van Gaal, the football's boring, I hate Woodward, I hate Glaziers. And then you're off there like a gullible fish going to buy a Manchester United top. Have some bloody self-respect. If you want change at the club, even though it's only a drop in the ocean, but if nobody goes and buys the away kit, then they'll start to notice because money will stop pouring in. But you've got fans all season saying, I hate Manchester United, what's happening? But you're flocking out to buy a shirt. You can't have it both ways. I won't be buying any merchandise because the club is totally about money, and and fan opinion's really important to me. And I know it's a total drop in the ocean, and people will be saying, "Who gives a?" They won't give a damn about your opinion, Mark. I know that, but at least I can sleep at night thinking I'm not buying into that club anymore because it has been destroyed from a club that's absolute the history, best football club in football. Best football story ever told is Manchester United, and we've become a mercenary money club, and it makes me sick. And I will not, as much, you know what, I do like the new kits. I'm not buying one. I'm more of a tracksuit top man, as you'll know from me. I'm not buying any of the new kits until Van Gaal is out of that club, because that's what I want to have. So we'll just have to see what Had's said, but it just makes me laugh, and I love Manchester United. I love all you lot who get involved, but you know I'll say what I think, and it makes me laugh that people are tweeting out, going, "Oh, look at the new kit! I've got my new kit. Look at this." You know, bloggers, people who write decent articles, putting up pictures of themselves. You know, look at me with my, you know, look at, I've got the women's one. You know, and I just think, have a day off. You've just spent a good few hours writing an article about the problems about Manchester United and Woodward and Glazers and this, that, and the other, and then there you are going out buying a top. It's so gullible. Have a word with yourself. You can't. I think if you're out there buying merchandise, you don't have any right to moan when Woodward comes on, like he did, and I'll go through his points now, and basically said, we're breaking all these deals, TV money's coming in, a massive increase over the next few years, money. But if fans don't watch Manchester United, don't buy season tickets, don't buy merchandise, the money disappears from Manchester United, and that's the bottom line. That is 100% the truth. You can say fans buying tickets, everything, it doesn't matter. Why do you think people sponsor Manchester United? Because we've got the biggest fan base in world football. Why do you think the TV deals, TV people want it? It's because everyone wants to match Manchester United. And when I say everyone, that is fans. So, you know, if you want to make a difference, don't buy a bloody shirt. That's my point. And eventually, those numbers will go up. But you know me, I'm I'm all about fan opinion, and I think fans should be listened to. But anyway, before we get into this Q&A and start looking at some of your comments, Woodward basically came out, basically. The Adidas thing is a myth. A lot of people have said, and Alex again, he's getting a bit today, isn't he? Alex said, and a lot of you have said, if we don't get top four, the Adidas deal comes down. No, it doesn't. It's the Adidas deal comes down by I think about 25% if we don't get in the Champions League for 2 years running. So we've got a free ride this year. So the Adidas money isn't coming down. The only other deal that's got any penalty clauses in it is Chevrolet, and that's if we get relegated. So there's a massive myth out there. I mean, this is very, very good for Van Gaal and Woodward because there is no penalty clause if we don't get top 4. The only thing we lose out on is Champions League money, which is actually a drop in the ocean compared to the new Premier League TV deal, as I said before. It was also asked about the youth, and there was 2 things interesting that Woodward said about the youth. One, that they're really pleased and happy with the success over the last 2 years of promoting the youth and getting it into the first squad, and that's really good, which for me, and I'm sure all you, is very pro Van Gaal. And the second thing was also, about the youth as well. The great thing about the youth, money again, is that it saves money on the net spend for transfers. So they're basically saying, we like bringing the youth through because then we don't have to spend money, which... As a fan, I like Manchester United bringing youth through because that's what Manchester United has been since the 1930s. Youth players involved in the first team squad since 1937, I think it is. That's why I like it, because Manchester United are all about youth. The reason Woodward and everyone else likes it is because youth coming through means they haven't got to spend money. And cynical, but that is what it's all about. So it's all about the money. We're doing really well. There's nothing that came out of Ed Woodward's chat today with investors that will, 1, concern investors, or 2, concern Ed Woodward. They're not losing any sleep. The money is absolutely pouring in. The TV deal is just so big this summer, and it's there to stay. And no matter what happens, Manchester United will be making profit for the next few years. So money really doesn't make a massive amount of difference. What's going to get rid of Van Gaal is the big thing, isn't it? Sunday, not getting top 4. He should be gone. He should be gone. But we've got lower expectations than a club like Everton at the moment. They've got rid of their manager because the fans are fed up. They're getting bad results, and they've made the change. Manchester United, unfortunately, is 100% ownership about bringing money in, and they're absolutely rolling in it, and it's a sad situation. But so there we are. As we stand at the moment, I don't believe the Mourinho rumours. I'd love to believe them. I don't care about being wrong. If he signs for Manchester United in the next few days, hours, whatever, I'll go absolutely mentally happy. But the way it stands at the moment, I think I've always felt Woodward wants Van Gaal to stay. I think Van Gaal wants to stay, and I think if they can get away with it, they will do. And the only people who are going to stop it are the fans, and I don't think the fans are united or have the fight or desire to stop buying kits. As I've just said, there's even people on the United stand, having arguments about which tops they're going to buy. And if that's the case, we're lost. It won't make any difference because the money will just keep flying in. But that's my opinion. Right, first of all, let's start whizzing into some of your comments because that's what we are doing it for. I did put it up on Twitter first, so let's have a look at what people were asking on Twitter there, and I will go through some of the live comments as well because that's what we like to do, and I really enjoy that. So, right, let's have a look at what we've got. Do you think no Champions League and fan pressure will force Louis van Gaal out? I think fan pressure will, but I just don't think we're united. I mean, we get people take pops at us all the time saying, "Oh, what." And it's a pop at every Manchester United. There's those hardcore Manchester fans who go to the games and have got no respect for anybody else who's got an opinion. And when you've got infighting like that, you'll never unite them. All I would say is if you're not happy with Manchester United and the way it's run, it's nothing. All I want is Manchester United fans to have a voice, and we haven't got one at the moment because the only thing they're interested in is what's in our pocket. No matter how much you like a Manchester United new shirt, don't buy it. If you want Mourinho to be in charge, or you want Van Gaal out, or you want something to change, don't buy a Manchester United top because at least then you're not contributing to what they're all bothered about, which is money. Thoughts on United apparently being favourites to sign Zlatan? I think that's totally linked in with Mourinho. I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic or any other player is not going to sign for Louis van Gaal. So even if we'd got top 4, we were going to struggle this year. That was from @RyanHughes99. After the FA Cup final, what will be the channel's programme till next season, says at Zimar. Transfer stuff, we've got loads planned, so that's what we'll be doing there. If both Rashford and Martial said they would leave, but you, Mark, had the power to allow one to stay, well, who would you keep? Good question from Isa at Man United. I'll throw that over to you like in the live comments. Rashford or Martial, if you were forced to do it. It'd have to be Martial because he's the better player at the moment, but Rashford's homegrown. It's very, very difficult. Very good question that is, actually. At HSB MUFC, Ed Woodward has made 2 poor appointments in Moyes and Van Gaal. He can't afford to get this appointment wrong. Jose Mourinho is the man to get. It's not really a question, is it? But as we've said, I'm not convinced that that's going to make any difference at all. I think the appetite is to keep Mourinho if they possibly can. Not Mourinho, it's to keep Van Gaal if they possibly can. Let's have a look at some of your comments on the live comments section. Ryan McGee's basically popping into Mourinho saying that he's wasted 260 million on bad players. Mourinho wasted $1 billion on bad players, Mark, says Ryan. Did he? Well, the reality is, I'm sure Mourinho spent a lot of money in his time, but you can't move away from the fact that in Portugal, England, Italy, Spain, England, he's won the title and European Cups as well for some of those clubs within his first 2 years. Van Gaal, I think he won the league for some rubbish Dutch side 5 or 6 years ago. He's finished. Van Gaal's just a boring man, and he spent a lot of money. And the reality is, whoever takes over, if Van Gaal got sacked, which would be absolutely amazingly good, if Van Gaal got sacked, people talk about the great clear out he's done and the structure of the club. We all know, and I'll ask you this as well, if you could get rid of 3 Manchester United players, which 3 Manchester United players would it be this summer? I know a load of you are going to say, why are you saying 3? There's about 8. So there's no progress and there's no philosophy. But there's no progress under Van Gaal. Yeah, there's 1 or 2 youth players coming through, but the actual squad we've got of players that actually get you somewhere in the league, the experienced professionals, is a mess. And he's had 2 years and a lot of money, and we are in a mess. If Mourinho comes in, there's loads of work to do there. There's loads of players still that you'd have to buy. It's been a mess in relation to transfers, and this current squad is a mess. And I would argue that where we are now, we're in a worse situation from when Van Gaal started. You look at the likes of Van Persie that they had, Hernandez, Nani. There's a lot of players that I would still rather have compared to what we have now. Really, definitely do think that. Dean Harris, what happens if Mourinho has a season like he did this year? Same scenario then. Both seasons under Louis van Gaal have been better than Mourinho catastrophe of a season this year. They were the champ. They are still the champion. Well, they're not, are they? Because Leicester have won it, but they were the champions of England. Yeah. I think you can afford Mourinho a bad 3 months when you're the champions of England. I don't care. The reality is with Mourinho, and if he does come, which I don't think he is going to do, the first video I do about it, announcing it, I'll be really, really excited, but I will quantify it by saying, I'm not saying that Mourinho at Manchester United is going to work. Who knows whether it's going to work? I do not know. It could be an absolute mess, like Dean Harris says there. But it'd be better than Van Gaal, and his record is better than anybody's in world football. And that we're not in a position of comfort or where we can take our time. I would love the class of '92. I would love Scholes, Giggs, and Gary Neville to be doing it as a 3 with Nicky Butt and everyone and Phil Neville, and the absolute dream because they know Manchester United inside out. I would love that. We cannot afford that risk. It has to be Mourinho now because the club is in such a dangerous position. We can't even afford another 3 months of Van Gaal. We've got to do this now. But there's no guarantees Mourinho will work. It could be an absolute disaster. But in the situation we are in, which is a very dangerous position, I think Mourinho is the only option. But you're right, there's no guarantees. I just think he's the best option out there. And that is because we're in such a bad situation because of 3 years of bad mistakes. Van Gaal should have been sacked at Christmas, 100%. Deepu Guimar says, what happens if we don't sack Louis van Gaal? Personally, I can't carry on like this, moaning about it. As soon as the season ends, if we keep him till next season, then I'm just going to involve myself in the transfer deals, get excited about that, and we'll have to back him. We'll have to back him because otherwise we're all going to die of stress and heart attacks. What we've got to try and do is work on getting fans a voice professionally and credibly for Manchester United, because we haven't got that at the moment. People are just happy to throw their money at the club, and while that's happening, the money will just keep pouring in. And that's right across the board, whether it's Sky Sports subscriptions, BT, whatever like that. If fans suddenly stop watching it or stop paying for it, big questions are asked. I mean, football essentially has got so much money coming into the moment, and people are getting so rich out of it. Board members, whatever. The bubble could burst or it could carry on, but we've got to try and find and get where Manchester United is, and it is about the fans. Managers, players, chief executives, they'll come and go, but if you're a Manchester United fan, you're a Manchester United fan for life, and that decades Manchester United are part of your life, and we've got to try and get that back. We have to try and get it back, because if we don't and we just carry on, I don't think we've got a right to complain. If people are just going to carry on as it is, moan with one hand and then throw money at the club in the other. Hib says Van Gaal will be sacked Monday or Tuesday in my eyes. No, I can't see that happening. I sort of threw the question out the other day. I said, should we, if top four's gone on Sunday, should he be sacked on Monday and not given the opportunity of the FA Cup? And there was a very good reply from somebody that said it'd be absolutely stupid to do that because you disrupt a squad before a cup final. And the reality is, FA Cup final, I want to win it. I don't think the FA Cup final is going to have any impact on whether Van Gaal stays, because Wigan won the FA Cup and got relegated. So whether we win it or not, he shouldn't stay. The decision should be based on the league. So no, I don't think he'll go Monday. I think if he's going to go, I think they'll allow, Woodward loves him so much that he'll give him the opportunity to resign. And I think that's likely to happen maybe after the FA Cup with an FA Cup win, please. But I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced by Mourinho coming, and I'm not convinced the club want to get rid of him, because reality is, if fans weren't unhappy, why would they get rid of him? So much money coming into the club. Do have a look at the Woodward stuff, because it's amazing the amount of money that's coming into the club. Eamon Nolan, good point, slightly off Manchester United. Why did Watford sack Flores? Because that's football for you. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. They were never in a relegation fight. They played decent football from what I saw against us. They got to a cup semi-final and they decide they're better than that. Football is absolutely mad. Orange Hat 1 says, boycott the club, don't give any money to those filthy glazers. I think I would never condone that. I think it's got to be a personal choice. Like I said, there's people involved in the United stand who are arguing about what top they're going to get this year, and they'll probably buy 2 each. Who knows? Personally, I won't do it. It's a personal choice, because I can't come on here and criticise the club being all about money and not listening to the fans, and then go out and buy a United top with Goldbridge on the back or Martial. I just can't do that, because it's stupid. I'm moaning with one hand and then I'm chucking my money at them in the other. If I remove that money, at least I'm contributing. I'm not giving 40 quid to Woodward and the Glazers. So you know what? I won't do it. But if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Who's that? Smalling and Varane will make our defence better than what we have. Varane is I'm doing them on Red Rumours, which will be out on Monday at 4 o'clock. Our transfer show. He's one of the 3 people we'll be looking at. And Varane will come to Manchester United if we get Mourinho. I'm 100% sure of that. I'm not. If any of you know who his agent is, I've got a suspicion it might be George Mendes, which will make it a lot easier. But Varane loves Mourinho, and Mourinho, he's not a defensive coach, because his records of scoring goals are absolutely huge, both at Chelsea and Real Madrid. But he knows how to sort defenders out, which is why I think John Stones is another player he's interested in. You'd see a totally different John Stones under Mourinho than what you would under Martinez. He just hasn't got a clue defensively, as has been shown in his last few weeks. Wiz says Ed Woodward didn't mention Lee Van Gaal at all in the quarterly results announcement, unlike last season, but regardless of that, it seems that now is the best chance to get Jose in. We'll never get a better time now, he's right, than getting Mourinho in. But there was a lot of subtle mentions about Van Gaal, I felt. The money coming in, a great time. The youth, they're really happy with what's been going on the last couple of years. It was a subtle backing of Van Gaal, I read it. But Dean Harris, how do you feel about Leicester winning the league? I just think the big club's messed up, really, of which we are one. I'm not happy about any other club winning the league apart from Manchester United. I'd rather Leicester had won it over Arsenal and City and Liverpool. But I think Manchester United have to look at themselves. And it's easy to laugh at Arsenal not winning the league, but is that what Manchester United have become? Look at our squad. We should be way up there. We played Leicester twice. I wasn't that impressed with them either times. I think this year was a league for any big club to win it, and they blew it because they let their foot off the pedal. Wayne, brilliant. Mark, do you think people complaining? I don't know what that question is. Lou Van Gaal has been given money to waste. It's not his fault, says James Niger. The board is enabling. They should demand return on the investment. It looks like they don't care so much. You know what? If you give somebody 10 million, but you've got 40 million pounds coming in the other way, are you going to be that bothered about 10 million? If you give them 10 million and you've got no other money coming in, you're going to get annoyed. The problem is Manchester United and football in general, because of that football deal, you might lose a bit of money there, but so much money coming in, you're like, what, rubbing your hands? Profits are going up no matter what, and that's what matters. That 10 million has been wasted, but they've got so much other money coming in. What would they matter? Ahmed Zadin, Mark, would you like to be Manchester United assistant manager? I think there's a lot of Manchester United fans who would love to be involved in the club. I'd obviously love to be. There's zero chance of it ever happening. Not only from a tactical football point of view, but just, like on Tuesday night, I think there's so many of us would love to have been in that dressing room at half time and just gone in with the attitude I have now. This is Manchester United. This is a massive chance. You've got fourth place in your hands. You get out there and you show some fight and desire, and that is where we lost that game. There was no fight and there was no desire. Martial, 2 individual goals essentially, and De Gea did have a bit of an off game, but he did save that one-on-one and Carroll. It could have been embarrassing. Absolutely ridiculous. Soccer Rules says, shut up, Mark. Just don't watch, mate, if you don't like it. Jordan Curley, do you think it will happen, Mark? I don't really know what you're on about. Chris Sullivan, I just feel we will become Liverpool, a joke. But Liverpool look like they're heading in the right direction. Jurgen Klopp's a good manager. He's not spent any money yet. He will do this summer. But basically what Klopp is, he's somebody who stands up on the side of the pitch, gets the crowd going, and gets his team to try and fight and press. It's not rocket science. We've got a manager who sits on his backside and tries to turn football into a game of chess, which will never work in the Premier League. A lot of fans who were backing Top Reds, backing Van Gaal up until Christmas, and they've now had to not back him. I know who you are. They were basically saying it makes no difference at all if a manager sits down or stands up. Look at Bilic on Tuesday night, getting the crowd going, getting the players going. I've played football. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Doesn't matter what level you played at. If your manager is on the sideline giving you a bollocking or pushing you on, it gets you going. If your manager sat on his backside colouring in, not even looking, it's bad management in my mind. But there you go. Mark, what system do you think Mourinho would play? Who do you think he would get rid of? Good question from Sean. I think Mourinho, it's difficult. I think Mourinho's midfield 2 would sort of be a Schneiderlin and a Herrera. I think that'd quite work. I think he'd probably throw Rooney in as Rooney is centre midfield at the moment, just doesn't work. Throw him in as a centre midfield, as a sort of number 10. I think he would have Martial on the left because Martial helps out. I think he'd bring somebody in on the right who's a bit quicker, who can back up. Lingard's not good enough. And I think his striker would be, and he normally does have a striker like this, whether it's Costa, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, Ronaldo, Benzema. Look through his career, he's always had a very big, strong, powerful, top class number 9, and I think that's somebody that Manchester United would have to buy in. I think he would give Rashford time, but Rashford's probably not quite ready for that role yet, and you need somebody who's going to score your goals 30 a season. Mourinho's always had that, so that would be the exciting thing about Mourinho. And he'd sort the defence out, but not so defensively. They do play quite entertaining football with Mourinho, so I'd like to see that happen. Whether it'll happen or not, I don't know. Mourinho will probably end up at PSG, to be honest, and win the Champions League with them. Be a massive wasted opportunity. And I've always said, if Mourinho doesn't come to Manchester United, it's because we've snubbed him. He wants this job. He's made it abundantly clear he wants this job. And if we snub him to keep Van Gaal, I really do worry about next season. Worst case scenario then, Dipu says, Mark, Lou Van Gaal or Giggs. Giggs gets a lot of bad press. I would take Giggs. I would take the Old Trafford tea lady at the moment over Van Gaal because he's just got to go. He's had so many chances. Embarrassments this season are the Champions League group, which was very easy. December, the amount of bad games we lost there, Bournemouth and Norwich, disgraceful. Going out of the Europa League with an absolute whimper against our biggest rivals, Liverpool, who are now probably going to win that tournament and get in the Europa League. And then Tuesday night, I mean, this is 4. I can keep counting, but this is 4 big ones. Tuesday night, handed top 4 on a plate that we don't even deserve, and we don't even turn up. I mean, Van Gaal, inexcusable, 100% has to go. It's an absolute farce that he's still in the job. Fans want him gone, and he'll probably survive because the money's pouring in, and the club just don't care about fan opinion, and that's the bottom line, and that's where it is. So I would take Giggs because it's not Van Gaal, and I would take anybody over him at the moment because it can't get any. I think it's unforgivable what he's done this season, unforgivable, and that's where I am. But that was the Q&A. That was my thoughts on everything. Thanks everybody for joining and getting involved. The preview for the Bournemouth game's up. We'll be live. I think the kickoff's at 3 o'clock on Sunday, so we'll be live with the watch along from about 2:30, 2:15, talking the lineups and everything like that. And obviously you can join us live for that. We'll have Sunday Night Live, Red Rumours, lots of transfer stuff coming on now, and we're building up to the FA Cup next week. But thanks everyone for getting involved. Do drop us a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the United Stand. Loads going on, and the one I do always like to finish on a positive, and the one positive, as I've always said, is you lot, is Manchester United fans. All I ever want is for the United Stand to get bigger and more credible, and eventually people might start listening to all of us, because if we don't have a voice, which we haven't got at the moment, nothing's going to change. But I like to thank you all anyway, because it's been a really difficult season, really frustrated for them 4 things, like I said. And if I couldn't talk to you lot and vent my frustration and listen to what you lot are all saying, then nothing, I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So thanks everybody for watching, and thanks even for those who are trying to be abusive. Whatever. Keep involved with the United Stand, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. It is the weekend, and we'll be back on Sunday for you. And I've got a video up tomorrow about Rooney, actually. Zara's asking people outside Old Trafford, Rooney, centre midfielder, forward, or get rid. So tune in for that tomorrow. Put it up tomorrow afternoon. But thanks everybody. Top show. Couldn't do it without you. And speak to you all soon.